Welcome back to another episode of Who Should You Choose, the video series where I go through the prior videos, questions, and comments and help you with your hot lineup decisions. Episode 156. It is Thursday, so no content today. I did want to touch on something that I've been talking about a little while. Those 95 and above overall packs, they're not worth doing, but it just goes to show how much this game needs, if they're going to keep the same content structure, which I don't think is a good thing, but if they're going to keep the Tuesday, Wednesday, and the high 90s cards or whatever, no one can pull them, so they're never on the auction house. They need to keep a pack like that in the store or do a daily content pack because the auction house actually has quite a few 95 and above cards now because people are pulling them. There will be people that spend money on the game. You can't do anything about it. And same thing with people spending money on or coins on it. And I do enjoy the fact that if a 95 overall card comes out, that a player wants to take a shot on, then he can open up those packs and sell the cards that he packs and whatnot. So, I hope they iron it out, make it a little bit better. I think all cards in the store should be tradable. It's absurd that you can buy an untradeable pack. I think this game, more than anything, is just so protective. Like, it is so. There is such a rubber band of grinding either the game if you want to with either time or money. They make it where like they really hamper you from spending a lot of time. They cap your rewards, things like that. They don't give you repeatable packs, stuff like that. And then two, with money even, they make it where a lot of this stuff is with untradeable packs, and just I would never buy untradeable packs. So I just wanted to point that out, that next year there needs to be packs for the specific content day. So what I mean by that is yesterday, Team of the Week came out with a couple of those 97s like McKinnon and whatnot. And my God, that Lemieux highlighted such an issue with power-up icons. Like, again, if they're going to get rid of them, they get rid of them. But if they bring back hologram icons or X Factors or team builders, things like that, team of the season, all of that stuff, they need to address the fact that those cards, either they come out and say, hey, get these cards if you're a favorite player, but they're not going to upgrade and match the attributes as the highest rated card, or just say we're going to. And I think that would be a huge focus. So what I mean by that is just because a card says 97 overall, Lemieux's 97 as a hologram is a 97 overall, but not nearly as good because his stats that make him 97 aren't as good as the sum total that got him to 97 on his new event item, right? Like his skating, his endurance, all of it, just brutal. So anyways, let's get into yesterday's comments and questions. And we'll do a video where we're just going through the top rated. So I sorted by top rated. Matthew has the most liked comment, it looks like, here with 10 likes. We really need the devs to crush NHL 26 this year. Game's been brutal all year, but we've had some flashes of good that need to be studied. Warp Speed and Fantasy were actually enjoyable, and whoever pitched those ideas deserves to earn some extra NHL puck points or something. Anyways, who do you think gets the cover this year? Would you love to see Kucherov or Gaudreau? Or Celebrini has an outside shot. So, again, I think that the LOL content's been awful statement is not correct. As a whole sum of the content this year, yes, I think that it underdelivered from the prior years. But I do think, like I said, I celebrate the wins just as much as I do the losses. And I think that there were some good things they did. You mentioned specifically like the fantasy event items. Guys, the playoff event specifically was the entire playoff season, so it was like 2 months, and basically they just gave us every new round we got new MSPs, and it was so boring. The fantasy event cards made the playoffs way better, because even if you didn't have a horse in the race, like myself as a Sharks fan, I at least got to tune in and I would watch some of the play teams and players that I have in fantasy. So there was some good things. The Warp Speed event, it's so funny to me because the Warp Speed event, when people say I should do content or work on the content team, I think one day I would love to. When all is said and done, I would love to spend a year being on the content team just to see what it's like. And how good I can do. I don't think I would have come up with the Warp Speed event. And that was a good event when you separate the Warp Speed event from everything else. And I don't know if I would have the creativity to come up with an event like that. However, I could tell you all of the issues and what would be the positives for those events. Like, like a consultant, I think, as a final check of like, okay, I think we're going to do this. I can point out the good and bad that I think the community, I've got a pretty good handle on it, what the majority of the community would think in terms of that. So the Warp Street event specifically, 99 speed is the end all be all. And you can dress up abilities and gigantic players. It does not matter because once you get below Division 2, the creativity of plays and offense becomes less and less. Okay, so you go Division 3, 4, and I'm not saying you're bad, but I'm saying that you are going north-south. You are going down the boards. You're not cutting players off, forcing them to the middle. You're basically reacting to the puck, not the player or other players around, right? Like that's what separates Division 4 from Division 2 and 1, right? So the thing is, 99 speed players at the top end, it's funny, they're not as important in Division 1 and 2 because Division 1 and 2 players can get away with slower, bigger players. And to be honest, there's some that are just more advantageous. Victor Hedman's a perfect example. Colton Parayko, a perfect example. Gigantic cards have more of an impact than maybe 99 speed in some cases because it allows you to cover more of the ice. You're better at reading the play. You can use that player to disrupt the play a lot better than just a smaller guy that has 99 speed. However, the majority of the player base is not in Division 1 and 2. In fact, a small portion of the player base is. So when you give 99 speed players to players that just go north-south, you're really causing an issue with future cards because those 99 warp speed cards, in my opinion, still some of the best in the game. They're still on my no money spent God squad. I put so much time into that team in the game, so I don't really have a no money spent team. I have a no dollar spent team, but time is money. So I acknowledge that. But the warp speed event, you have to be careful with speed. I loved the sharpshooter event. I thought it was really creative. I thought they did it at a terrible time because 99's shot back when it came out was only like 5 more, or maybe even like 3 or 4 more than some of the highest cards in the game because shot was still going up at normal progression. If they do the sharpshooter event in December and those cards have 99 shot, but they're much slower, now we're talking because you put to the majority of the player base who needs fast players, right? You're giving them 99 shot, which will go in a lot. It will be goaltenders. It's why goaltenders don't matter throughout the whole year because especially at the end of the game, a 99 goalie against a 99 shooter, the 99 shooter is going to perform far better. That's how it goes. So when you put 99 shooter in front of like an 89 overall goaltender, it's even worse. You'll see things like just flicking it up, and that's a really crap experience for the most part. But when you think about events at MSPs, it makes them exciting because it's like, man, these are all great cards, all great options. That's what makes an event fun. So if they do that earlier and the skating is very low, right? I don't want to say like November would be way too early because 99 shooting in November when everyone's average goaltender is whatever Markstrom is 85 overall would be a mess. But early January when shots at the height are like 90 and you get a plus 10 advantage, okay. Their skating is at maybe 88 to 90. They're going to run out of steam pretty quickly. And then there you go. I think that, like I said, I think that they had a lot of good ideas. And if they just executed the timing correctly, it would have been so much better. I will go back to this quite a bit. This is the perfect example of it. Christmas is a very important time for the NHL franchise because it is actually when the largest portion of the player base is in the game, which is got to be insane because the majority, I don't know of many other games that get an increase in player base after launch. Like that just doesn't happen. But January does because the game goes on sale. A lot of hockey fans are like, okay, now we'll pick it up. And hockey is kind of getting into the playoff push. It's at an exciting time. The World Juniors are on. It's just usually when you see a ton of a portion of the player base. And you see it in views. I see it in my views. Like I literally have the same amount of views, sometimes more than when I get in October, just to, further hammer home that point. They did Gallery of Greats during the holiday leading up to like January 1st. And then they did the Hut 2000s event. And then they did the Team of the Season or Team of the Year. Had they just switched the Hut 2000s event, which had one of the best mechanics from an event all year, if you think back, a lot of people don't even remember it because the timing of it. But for brand new players during the holiday season, I understand why they did it in the beginning of January because they wanted to let as many players get it for the holidays and then start. But for the entirety of the game, during the 2000s event, if you made all the MSPs, which were much cheaper because they're lower in overall than what we have now, right? You would get 8. I think you could make 4 and end up with 8 master set items. imagine getting the game for the holidays, grinding for 2 weeks, and now you've got 8 MSPs. They're account bound. I think that's what the caveat was. But you had 8 MSPs, you're immediately caught up. And because we know Team of the Year was coming, all of the hardcore players were like, that's not for me because I've been playing all year, so my team's pretty good. But it is such a good event for the new players. Now, let's say they entice enough people to use their resources because they wanted 8 Master's Head items, or however many it was, I can't remember. The very next event, Gallery of Greats. It is the event before Team of the Year. The event before Team of the Year is destined to fail because everyone is saving for Team of the Year, which now we know is not the right thing to do because Team of the Year cards are just pretty brutal in what they used to be. If Gallery of Greats happened right before Team of the Year, when they got free abilities, we didn't know they were going to do that. A free event, that was Gallery of Greats, one of my favorite events because every single MSP was awesome and it allowed everyone to have different players. Like some people went Bork, some people went Rob Blake. Some people went Messier, some people went Iserman, some people went Brett Hull, some people went Sakic. It wasn't like this is a clear best card. It was Iserman, but it was, you know what I mean? There was a lot of difference in opinion, and you didn't have to just go with like, this is the best one. And then you've got Team of the Year. Like, had they just had someone to be like, yo, let's mix this up. Like I said, the double shift event, another really good idea. Releasing 99 endurance in April when a lot of players have high endurance, except for the year-long chase cards, which is a mess. If they release a 99 endurance event at the end of October, early November, when skating is very low, but you could keep that card out there forever, really interesting build. And do you go and actually, use those cards? Like it gives a uniqueness to an event, and I think that that's what they need. So when it comes to the cover, part of me thinks if Bedard had slightly better of a year, I think they're dying to give it to Bedard, but he had such, not a bad season, but he was billed as McDavid, which is so unfair that I think he's going to need a big year before he gets it. McKinnon, like any of those guys, it won't be Crosby ever, but I just think, the Kachucks, they've got like a popular thing going on, especially after Four Nations. Like any of those, I would love a Johnny Gaudreau, guys. I don't know if this is because I'm older, but they are really trying to stay away to honor the family and not. It's a great way to honor him, right? But putting him on a video game cover the cover is meant to create hype to sell the game. It's why he's not in the game. And I think that'll change as we go, further and further after the tragedy. But it was basically like, let's give the family some time. And like that was what happened, so at some point I would love to see Gaudreau for sure. Kucherov would be another great one. I don't know, a lot of good options. And I'm sorry I took so long on that question, but the thought with pack pulls not representing the current event lays in line with the fact that slow progress would be better if pack probabilities grew with progression. This is the biggest issue with their event structure that they have right now. All it is MSP goes up by 1, so now you use 90 overalls instead of 89s. The issue here is that those kinds of cards, the pack pull cards, are harder to pull, right? So making an MSP at the beginning of the year so much easier because the cost is just so much less. And yes, on the auction house, it fluctuates, and obviously like 90 overall cards are far cheaper now than they were at the beginning of the game. But the pack pulls, it's harder to pull a 90 overall than it is an 85. Even right now, it just is, right? Even though they are far more common than they've ever been. It's a major issue with how they do the events, which is why every overall needs a value for an event MSP. It needs to go back to the collectible format, which everyone hated, myself included. It was boring, busted, but until they come up with a new mechanic, an 83 overall, you need 10 of them. They trade in for an event collectible that you can make an MSP. In 84, you need less of them, gets you a collectible, so on and so forth. Every single overall needs one. Genuine question regarding HUT specifically. A few years back, the EA Star Wars Battlefront franchise got EA into tons of trouble for selling loot boxes. I believe legal rulings forced them to be removed. In HUT, this is obviously essentially packs, so why has there ever been a legal issue with this model? I can't remember the exact issue, but I'm almost positive it was a few countries specifically. I want to say Belarus or Belgium. It's happened with FIFA too. A specific country banned them, and it became this massive thing. But in Battlefront, I think it was the absorbent, absolutely insane cost. I can't quite remember that. I'm gonna go back and look because Battlefront came out 8 years ago. When it comes to, I also think it was the only way to get them, which is crazy because Fortnite. I mean, I guess you can earn them in Fortnite, but I think like there was stuff that you could only get via. I don't remember. I need to look up. I'm ignorant to this topic, so I will look it up. However, when it comes to Ultimate Team mode games, you earn stuff. You don't have. You can play the game without any. It's technically no advantage, but there is a far big advantage for paying and getting more packs. You're getting more odds, but I don't know the exact difference. It's a good question. It's a good question, but no Ultimate Team or every Ultimate Team game is allowed to do it. Someone says odds are stated. Maybe it might be that. I can't remember if that was the reason why the odds weren't stated. That might be it because it was a random. I think that was it. You bought a box, but you had no idea what was in it. And that was the issue. And then, because I remember in NHL, and they never had to show pack odds. And then, like NHL 21 or 20, they had to, like legally. Do you think that in this year we actually see GM Connected franchise return? It's been years now since they posted the update video saying it's a multi-year development. I don't know if it'll come this year. I don't know. The issue, guys, here is the issue with GM Connected. Whether you guys want to admit it or not, myself, content creators, people that are involved in communities like Operation Sports still exists, stuff like that, GM Connected is going to be amazing. Here's the thing. A large portion of the NHL player base, over 60%, are 25 to 35, which is old when you consider most games, like most gaming demographics, right? I got to be honest with you. Be honest with yourself. When you were in a franchise mode back when NHL 14 in GM Connected, and you were in college and you had a group of 10 buddies and you played and it was great, how many of those buddies would you be able to commit to a couple hours a week playing GM Connected? Some of you would be a ton, but the issue is they could see the data back in NHL 14 that it was something like 5% of leagues created would make it past the first year, right? And when you think that they have limited resources, which is crap, and it sucks for the consumer, but it is what it is, that they would have to dedicate a lot of the resources to a year to a mode that potentially for 95% of the player base just wouldn't see play. It's a very dangerous risk to run. It's something that should be in the game, and I hope to God they bring it back. And I think they will, especially with the success of college football. They see how offline players still run the sports gaming industry when it comes to engagement and playing the game. Money is still king in Ultimate Team. So when they do bring it back, I don't know if they want to ever rush it. That's why when it's multi-year, it could be. They're working on NHL 27 right now, guys. A very small portion of the dev team is now dedicated to NHL 27. It wouldn't surprise me at all if there's something that's like multi-year, because they did say it years ago that it's going to be worked on. That we see something that if you go back and play at NHL 14, it would take 2 hours to sim a week. I used to play in a really dedicated league. It would take like hours to sim a week, and the game would crash, and the app was a disaster and slow and messy. It did work, but it was a mess. So if they want to do all of that again and do it correctly, it's just going to be a big undertaking. I hope to God it comes back. I don't know if it ever will. One simple change I think would be cool is to give captain's assistants more meaning. Would give the captain an extra gold ability, assistant captain an extra silver ability. I also think it would be cool if X Factors unlocked abilities and were interchangeable. Example, get a 500 hits and unlock silver truculence. I would love that. Very big RPG element. Again, I think the major issue of giving the blanket captain an ability where you would choose it, you would get players that would just do it on McDavid and who else, and it would be kind of a boring situation. They'd have to come up with a better way to do it. That's going to do it for me for today, guys. Thanks again for watching. See you tomorrow. Have a good one.